Were you told that your hip pain was due to bone-on-bone arthritis and the only option for you to deal with this hip pain was surgery? What if I told you that the pain that you're having may not even be coming from your arthritis? Listen, I know it sounds crazy, but hang in with me for a couple minutes as I discuss the classic story of people who start to have hip pain. They go to the doctor, they get an x-ray, the doctor says it's bone-on-bone arthritis. The only thing that can be done to deal with that is surgery, because of course that makes sense. You have bone-on-bone arthritis and you need to have surgery to have that dealt with, only to come out on the other end after surgery with the same pain that they went in with initially. And the truth is, the pain actually may be worse after surgery because now they've had to cut through the muscles and you have scar tissue, because that's what happens naturally with surgery, and they may have even limited range of motion, which increases their pain and makes the whole situation worse. Here's the truth of the matter that we're going to discuss today. Hip arthritis forms slowly over time, which means if you have a sudden onset of hip pain, it may not be coming from the arthritis. And I have seen too many people end up getting a hip surgery that didn't solve their pain problem in the first place. I'm Dr. Amy, PhD trained orthopedic manual physical therapist, and I believe that movement is life and you deserve both. And today we're going to be discussing what is hip arthritis, what caused the hip arthritis in the first place, what may be actually causing your pain, and therefore what you can do about it. Let's start off with what is hip arthritis. So arthritis is an abnormal bony formation on a joint that occurs usually when there's too much compression through the joint. You see, every joint and every tissue in your body is designed to heal itself as long as it's moving correctly. And for joints, that means they need compression as well as decompression with gliding. What that looks like for the hip joint, so we're going to have the acetabulum here, we're going to have the femoral head here, so you need to have compression as well as decompression, and you also need to have that gliding. Now, this happens normally when we're doing everyday activities like walking and climbing stairs and even running, as long as the joint can move correctly. It can move into that compression and decompression and gliding. This allows the cartilage that is lining the joint, so that's like a thin layer that helps to protect the joint from jamming down on top of each other. That movement allows that cartilage to be able to heal so that it doesn't degenerate. However, if you do not have that compression, decompression, and gliding, then it will just cause that jamming in the joint. So the body will say, well, there's something going on here. And if there's something going on here, we need to help. And for some reason, helping in this case is forming arthritis, which is not really helpful, but your body doesn't really know that. Now, this doesn't happen all of a sudden. It happens over time. As you're stuck in that compressed position and you don't have that decompression, it will slowly occur over time. But arthritis takes years to form. But if the joint's not moving correctly, chances are good that's what's going to happen. However, the other side of the coin is that may not be what is actually causing your pain. Here's a story to illustrate. I had a patient who came in one time because she wanted to avoid having hip surgery. Now, it was really interesting because when she did her x-rays, her arthritis was worse on her left hip than her right hip. In fact, her left hip was the one that was bone on bone, and the doctor was like, there's no joint space in there because so much arthritis has formed. However, her pain was on her right hip, and it actually had some joint space available. It was not as arthritic as the left hip. So when she looked at the x-rays, because she had questions, she's like, well, the left hip looks worse than the right hip. So which one are we going to do surgery on? And the surgeon said, well, we're going to do it on the right hip because that's the one that's painful. But then once that one's better, we're going to have to do it on the left hip because that's the one that has the arthritis. Well, she didn't want to have surgery on her left hip because it was not painful. And she didn't understand why the right hip was the one that was causing so much pain, even though it didn't have as much arthritis as the left one. So that's when she ended up coming to see me, because she's like, wait a second, if this pain isn't even coming from the arthritis in the first place, then maybe I don't actually need to have the surgery. And what we discovered during her evaluation was that the joint capsule, so that's the surrounding tissue that surrounds the joint, was very tight, and it was not allowing that hip decompression that she needed to prevent the furthering of her arthritis on the right hip. So by dealing with the muscles and the ligaments in the joint capsule that was causing that joint to be compressed and stay in that compressed position, we were actually able to completely eliminate her pain. And then we did some strengthening for that hip so it actually moved correctly, and she was able to get back to all of her activities pain-free without having to have surgery. Now, you may be wondering, what did we do about the left hip? Well, the left hip did have more of that arthritis formation, and it was because it had been carrying around that right hip. You know, if you have pain in one hip, the other hip is going to be bearing the load, right? Because you're trying to unload the painful hip. So her left hip had increased arthritis because she was having to overuse it due to the pain. So once the right hip was moving better, then we started making sure the left hip was moving better and that her muscles were balanced for all the activities that she loves doing. So you may be wondering, what is the muscle that most commonly contributes to hip arthritis or hip pain? And I will tell you that muscle is the psoas, which is your hip flexor. So it starts way up in the lumbar spine. So in your low back, that's actually where the hip flexor starts. And then it attaches onto your leg bone or your femur, which means it helps to flex your hip or bring your knee closer to your chest. So if this muscle gets tight, it causes the joint to be compressed, and it doesn't get the decompression and gliding that it needs in order for the cartilage to heal. And one thing that I've definitely noticed over my 25 years as a PT is when people have tight hip flexors, they usually have weak glutes. So your glutes are those butt muscles, so those muscles in the back of your hip, and they will get weak because that hip flexor gets tight, or the weak glutes lead to a tight hip flexor. It's kind of a chicken and an egg type of thing, because usually when I see a tight hip flexor, I also see weak glutes. If you have weak glutes, that means when you're doing your daily activities, including walking or hiking or running or anything that you do on a regular basis, that you don't have that proper support in that hip joint, and the hip joint is going to take a lot of pressure from that. So what causes arthritis to start in the first place? What causes it to start is a lack of proper joint motion, which is that compression and decompression with gliding. This can be due to tightness in muscles or muscle imbalances, so muscles that are not activating properly. So that would be most commonly the tight psoas and the weak glutes, which means we change our movement habits and we get into bad movement patterns. We also may struggle with improper posture, or people who sit for a prolonged period of time, say for work, have increased stress on their hip joints. Now, the good news is that you can absolutely change this. You want to do some stretching to restore your normal joint motions. So this can be all the muscles around the hip, including the hip flexor in the front, the abductors, which are on the side, outside of your hip, your glutes, which are in the back of your hip, and your adductors, which are on the inside of your hip. You can strengthen to support your joint biomechanics, so making sure that your joint is moving correctly. Often, again, this is the glutes, which are in the back of the hip, and the hip abductors, which are on the side of the hip. You also want to work on your posture and movement retraining to make sure you're moving with normal biomechanics and not causing increased compression through the hip. How do you know if your hip pain is coming from arthritis or from somewhere else? So the first thing you want to look at is the pain patterns. Do you have constant hip pain, or is it more activity related? You can also do some simple functional tests at home. These can include walking or even trying to move your hip in different directions and seeing how it moves. And it's very helpful to look at, do your hips move equally on both sides? Because, friends, imaging is helpful, but you have to look at the clinical picture in order to know the real story. And who is this for? This is for anyone who has been told they need a hip replacement, but they have a question in the back of their mind if this is actually going to deal with their hip pain. Or If you have hip pain, but you're still able to function and do all the activities you want, but you're trying to figure out what is the cause of your hip pain. And it's for people who are frustrated because every time they go to the doctor, the only thing they're given is pills, injection, or the option for surgery. Now you have some ideas on what you can do to deal with your hip pain right now. Now, you may be saying, well, I don't fit into those categories. So do I actually need to have surgery? And I will tell you, there are some people that I have talked to either through our online health coaching or who have come into the clinic who definitely do need to have surgery at this point. And my bar for if you really have to have surgery is if you are limited in your functional daily activities. So if you would prefer to sit on the couch as opposed to go for a walk, and you feel like if I go for a walk, it just makes everything worse, then you might need to have surgery to get over that hump. Because sometimes things do get to the point where active motion, even stretching and things like walking, which should be helpful, are not helpful because the pain is just too much. And I will say that many people have sought out conservative treatment first and not gotten the results that they were looking for, which is a tough one for me because I know many physical therapists out there are limited by insurance restrictions and they're only able to offer you what the company policy is to be able to offer you if you have hip pain. They're not able to use hands-on techniques to help get the muscles moving correctly. They're not able to give you specific exercises for your body. They just give you kind of this cookie cutter protocol. And I know that that's really frustrating for people because that's considered the conservative treatment option, but they didn't get the results that they were looking for. So if you are adamant about avoiding surgery and you believe that there's a better way, I'm going to encourage you to find a manual physical therapist who will create a custom plan for your body to help eliminate the pain so you can get back to doing all the things you love. Because remember that movement is life and every tissue in your body is designed to heal itself as long as it's moving correctly. So if you can do some stretching, if you can go for a walk and you can get things moving correctly, your tissues will be able to heal. And also remember that it's all connected. So your hip pain may not even be coming directly from your hip. It could be due to weak glutes. It could be due to poor posture. It could be due to abdominal weakness. It could be because your foot's not moving correctly and how it interacts with the ground. And again, in this case, you need a specialist who can look at your body and look at your hip pain, hear your story, and create a plan that's specific to you. But friends, please know that surgery is not your only option, and there are other paths to healing for you. Now, if you're looking for some hip stretches and strengthening exercises because you've watched this video and you're like, I'm ready to get started, we're gonna link a video here, which includes all of my favorite hip stretches and exercises. This is actually what I do on a daily basis to keep my hips active and mobile and keep running into my 50s.